For years, we had a terrible projector in here.
In here.
Terrible. Have to turn it all off. The resolution was terrible. This one's pretty good.
Glad they got it upgraded.
Yes.
W459 like this one?
No. I don't know what W459 is.
You got it.
It's kind of the one-off. There's two of you in there, and that's it.
We good to go, Dr. Mississippi?
You are good to go.
Alrighty.
You are streaming live, so 20 to 25
right.
minutes. And if you don't mind, we'll ask questions. We're happy to hold them if you tell us to hold them. But
No, yep. Feel free to ask questions as we go.
okay.
Welcome to our capstone presentation. We built a Alexa skill for BioMain, and we have really enjoyed this process.
You said that almost like you thought I would understand it. Alexa.
So, Alexa skill. So, basically, those voice recognition services. Alexa is the voice recognition service created by Amazon, which is, I would say, one of the most popular ones. I don't have the actual figures on that. Siri's another big one by Apple. And we have created one of those skills, as they're called, which is basically a custom application that you make to handle requests relative to, what you want to handle. So we created one of those skills for BioMain, which is a horse nutrition company that Carson is involved with to distribute content for that company.
As of November last year, Amazon had 75% of the market share for digital assistants.
So that was right. The market
Digital
leader.
smart speakers.
Pretty strong.
So I know no one in the IS program has heard me talk about what BioMain is before. But I'm a part of a company in St. George called BioMain Products. We specialize in equine nutrition, specifically for hair health right now. And we basically sell two sets of products. Our nutritional supplement, which we call BioMain Equine Pellets. And then we also sell various maintenance tools that, if our people that are using our product are feeding their horses our supplements, and they're seeing their horses' mane and tail grow, and they're seeing a lot of improvement in the hair, we give them the tools that they need to take care of it. And anyways, our goal in the industry is to position ourselves as kind of the experts related to equine hair. And yeah.
So the primary marketing channel for BioMain is content distribution related to all different types of horse care, facts, and how-to videos, things along those lines. And currently the channels that they use to distribute that content through is predominantly their website or Facebook, Instagram, and various social media channels. And basically BioMain is looking for additional channels that can be used to distribute this content that has really been helpful in driving growth and driving people towards BioMain, these horse nutrition pellets. And so brainstorming some ideas how we could help that, we thought maybe a Alexa skill would be a good method, a good channel to open up kind of as these services become more and more prominent and Alexa devices are in more and more homes. And again, that's why we chose Alexa, because as Dr. Maservi noted, roughly 75% of these voice recognition services, the market is dominated by these Alexa speakers, and I've got one right here. And so basically we set out to create a flash briefing, a custom skill, and to provide this distribution. And Alexa has more and more visual components associated with them now, and so we've also managed to integrate that to create a more full audio and visual experience to go with it.
Yeah, and on that note too, we did just, obviously this is not scientific whatsoever, but on our Instagram we had our followers that view our stories respond to a survey on our Instagram story that asked how many of you have either an Alexa device or a Google Home device. And about 40% of the people that responded to our story said that they had one of these devices already, which was, like I said, not scientific at all, but kind of surprising to us that there was an opportunity for us to reach a good significant amount of our customers through this channel. That would definitely be worth it, the investment of building something up. So yeah, like Matt said, we created a Bioming briefing, which is a flash briefing, and Matt will talk more about that. And basically what that is just a tidbit of Bioming news, or a random how-to tip or something that we will update on a weekly basis. And then we created an Alexa custom skill, which we call Bioming for Alexa. And it's all sorts of our content. Basically, we create tons of video content and other content. It's really cheap for us to just turn that into audio content. And the Bioming for Alexa is basically taking that video content, making it in audio form and in a format that people can access through Alexa.
So yeah, we talk about these basically as they're kind of separate applications. The Bioming briefing is kind of its own generic skill that integrates with other flash briefings. I'll demo that in a second, but basically various companies can produce various different types of content that users will then go and sign up to hear updates about that from. So for example, and you'll hear this shortly, is if you want updates from the Wall Street Journal has a flash briefing that will basically have updated content weekly that will give you different kinds of tips and tricks. And so basically we want to put Bioming in the feeds of people's homes so that they'll hear that content on a more regular basis, rather than if they forget to go use the custom skill and ask for something specific. Either way, they're still getting that content when they ask for all of the updates of the various things that they follow. And so the technology behind that is you basically use the Alexa Developer Console to create that skill, which essentially uses a JSON file that will contain the information and the location of that briefing. So we use that and set up the bucket for that storage in S3 so that it can effectively easily obtain that audio file for the customer. So I'm going to demo that real quick. Give me my flash briefing.
Here's your news. In Wall Street Journal Minute Briefing.
Next.
From your Bioming briefing.
Let's talk about the tailbag. Why do we need a tailbag is what we're going to cover. Also the features of our tailbag. We're going to assume you're already feeding Bioming equine pellets. So you've started the process of accelerating the growth and increasing the thickness of the tail. Now you've got to maintain that tail and protect it. Really, essentially, you're protecting your investment. There's no point in feeding the product and growing that tail longer and thicker if you're just going to let the weather elements damage the tail, let the swishing in the warmer summer months, even in the winter months, horses swish their tails. It's a natural thing for them. When that tail isn't protected with a tail bag, the tail itself is taking the blunt end of that damage, and that's what causes the thinning and the breaking of the hair. So we highly recommend using a tail.
In Fox News. This is a Fox News.
Stop.
Wait, so how come you had to pick it up to talk to him? The whole point is you just talk to him.
That is the whole point. However, if I've been saying Alexa all this time, every single time, it would have said, "What do you want?" basically. So all I did is I just set it that I have to press the microphone. But typically, an Alexa device in someone's home, you could just say the wake word Alexa and then you could go for it. So just this particular device, for this particular instance, I have it just to tap the microphone. But basically that gives you a demonstration of the type of content that we're distributing, as well as where it falls in with feeds that people can hear and listen to. And so that's the flash briefing skill component.
So for the custom skill that we created, the various types of content that we have for Bioming for Alexa is our how-to content. We also have testimonials, quick tips, and then product information. And this, I mean, we don't really have a scope on how big this can grow. Basically, as we produce more content as a company, our goal will just be to make more and more available on our Bioming for Alexa custom skill. And the whole, I guess, goal is to make it, you know, a conversational interaction for people to be able to access our content without having to have a physical device in their hands. This on the right is kind of an example of what so that's an Echo Show device, and that's what our, you know, if you were to say Alexa launch Bioming, that's kind of what would pop up on your Echo Show. And then from there, on subsequent screens, it's actually touch screen. So if you didn't want to use your voice to navigate through our custom skill, you could actually, you know, use a touch interface. But Matt's going to talk about kind of the technology and how custom skill is put together, and then I'll go through a demo of that.
So the custom skill, again, it's not as generic as like a flash briefing skill. So it basically involves a lot more development work and a lot more customization. So basically, how it works, how these custom skills work, or how our custom skill will work, is basically you have an Alexa device and you ask Alexa for something from Bioming. Basically, what will happen is we set up in the Alexa developer console. Basically, there's an interface for creating what Alexa can handle and how to handle it, where to go to handle that response. So basically, it essentially creates a JSON file that will have every kind of capability that your skill can handle, and we'll demonstrate that coming up next. And so basically, it'll go and it'll interpret. Okay, what did they say? Alexa will interpret what they said, and it'll match it up to one of the use cases, or intents as they call it, that you set up. And then it'll send that, it'll package that up and send it to what we have used, Invocable, which is actually a third-party service, which is a much more efficient and effective way with a much better interface for basically handling those different types of intents. And that service will basically receive those requests that Amazon had packaged up and sent to Invocable, and it will then, depending on what was asked, it will retrieve it'll send an API request to Lambda, a Lambda function that we set up, which is basically just a cloud function, AWS Lambda, which then will determine which audio file, which content to return back to the user, what the user is looking for, basically. So Lambda, the cloud function is coded to send basically the URL in the JSON format back to Invocable, which will package up the response in a way that the Alexa understands, and it'll send that back to the developer, to basically Alexa in the console there, which will then deliver that to the user. So that's kind of how that process works there.
So I'll kind of go through a quick demo of our custom skill. Launch, oh, you have to hold it down. Oh.
Sorry,
Maybe not.
I'm not sure about that.
You didn't just launch.
Launch Bioming.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bioming. What do you want to do? Or say, give me options.
Give me options. Oh, sorry, we've never done it with that trigger on there. Launch Bioming.
Welcome to Bioming. What do you want to do? Or say, give me options.
Give me options.
You can say, tell me about Bioming products. Listen to how to content. Give me a quick tip. Play a testimonial. List options again.
Products.
What Bioming product do you want to learn about? Or say list options.
List options.
Bioming equine pellets, tail bags, or mane and tail brushes. Or say go back.
Mane and tail brushes.
Bioming equine pellets, tail bags, or mane and tail brushes. Or say
Brushes.
Bio-main equine pellets, tail bags, or mane and tail
Learned earlier.
brushes, or say go back.
Mane and tail brushes.
Excited to introduce our mane and tail brush. In a lot of the how-to videos you've seen, the brush that we use, and now we're making it available.
Stop.
What do you want to do now? Or say give me options.
Give me options.
You can say, tell me about bio-main products. Listen to how to content.
Listen to how-to content.
What do you want to learn about?
Brushing the mane.
Here with Chrome, we're going to show you how we brush the manes. You can see hers, she's not lacking in the mane department, but it is a mess.
Can't really see it.
Things we're going to cover.
You're
Your
right.
bio-main technique.
Is that like a horse pickup line? You are not
What do you
lacking
want to
in
do
the main
now?
part.
Or say give me options.
Give me options.
You can say, tell me about bio-main products. Listen to how to content. Give me a quick tip. Play.
Give me a quick tip. So this will choose a random
That's a lot of bio-main
MP3 file from an S3 bucket folder.
Yes and no. It depends on what the cause of that horse rubbing is. If it's due to a dry,
Stop.
What do you want to do now? Or say give me options.
Testimonial.
I'm Cody Cabral, professional steer wrestler from Hilo, Hawaii.
This one's a little more exciting.
Press the buy button. Press
Stop.
the buy button.
What do you want to do now?
So basically that's it.
Sorry,
Oh,
your tab lost its connection.
that's basically it without making you listen to a bunch of boring horse tips. But
Fascinating, or fascinating horse tips.
Exactly, that's more like it.
but anyways, yeah, that's kind of how the custom skill would work. And
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, kind of like I mentioned, we included this cloud function in Lambda basically so that we could have it be more dynamic, so you don't have to go in and code, okay, we uploaded a new how-to video. So basically what this does is it dynamically connects to the bucket, and so if they want a random fact, basically it'll deliver, it's coded in Python, and it'll deliver a random how-to content or random testimonial, basically. And so anytime something new is uploaded, it'll automatically, because it's reading directly from the bucket, there's no need to do anything else other than just add new content. So we wanted to make it as maintainable as possible in that regard. And so moving forward, basically from now until when we complete this and perhaps even beyond, is to improve the usability, make sure we add synonyms, make sure that it's, the interface is more, encompasses more of what could be said by a user. As you noticed, the conversation can kind of get long as you try and get deeper and deeper. So we just want to make sure that we prevent as much user frustration as possible. You'll probably still run into some because these audio interfaces always kind of have that. But basically to support that, to help ease that a little bit, is we're currently adding the touch capability to Echo Show. So basically on those devices, it'll not only tell you those options that you have, it'll also display them. So you could either say it back, or you could touch the option that you wanted, and that'll be for visual enabled devices such as tablets or Echo Shows. So we really want to improve the user experience in that regard. And also we want to, along with that, do some more exhaustive usability testing. And one more thing is with those briefings, we also are going to, between now and the next couple weeks, make sure that those briefings are updated automatically. So we're going to add to the Lambda function API another type of request that will allow basically just the upload of a new briefing, and then that way it'll just automatically grab the most recent. So that way we don't have to upload a new JSON file every single time, basically every week when a new content comes out. So we'll be able to have it handle that. just again to add to that maintainability that we want for this skill moving forward.
So to wrap up, 3 lessons that we learned, I guess, from doing this is first, maintainability is vitally important. I'm kind of like a one-man developer team for Biomain, so this invocable tool and some of the tools we were able to find to help with this will really be helpful with me, and then some of the Lambda things that Matt was talking about. We just, after diving into what it actually takes to build a custom skill and all this, like, it was a little overwhelming to me thinking about, you know, how will we do this moving forward, but we realized that how we built it will be maintainable, which is exciting. Second, I'd say new platforms can be difficult to work with. I feel like Amazon does a pretty good job of their Alexa documentation, but there's just not a lot of people doing this compared to obviously the other platforms or the languages or frameworks.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, every time we ran into a problem, originally we were going to use the Lambda function to handle those intent requests before we used invocable. And anytime you ran into a problem, basically, there's not the community support like you typically have with other technologies, and it makes it really hard and really unmaintainable, basically, to add new things, new features. And so that's kind of why we, broadened our search a little bit and came up with and coded it, developed it the way that we did.
Yeah, and I feel like our custom skill, kind of going into the last lesson learned, I feel like our custom skill seems pretty generic, like a company just wants to make its content available for people to access on Alexa, and we were just kind of surprised of how little actually people had built a skill like that. There's lots of skills like about kind of trivia games and stuff like that, so we were kind of surprised at how little that had been done related to kind of a generic skill like this. But through our searching and just really trying to find someone that had done it before, who had done it better than we were trying to do, that's where we found the tools that that basically helped us get across the finish line and kind of save our bacon, I guess. So I'd just say, yeah, always look for someone who has done it before you or better than you is the last lesson we learned. But I guess we'll go to any feedback or suggestions or questions.
What questions does the group have?
Really neat. I mean, this is the reason I like to come to these things, to kind of get onto the cutting edge of, I never even thought, I wonder what I would have to do to make some kind of content available on Alexa. I thought it never crossed my mind. And we don't have Alexa, we have Google Home, but we interact with it all the time. And why didn't I even think about that? There must be some way to do that. So I'm really glad that I came.
Yeah, thank you, thanks for coming.
On those lines too, like the flash briefing took us like a couple days. All you need is an Alexa developer console account, and then you just fill out a form and you're like skills created. Then you need a JSON file hosted somewhere and an MP3 file hosted somewhere, and then you can have a flash briefing skill that you can deploy on the Alexa App Store. It's really, really simple to do.
Have you looked in at all to the Google platform?
Not yet. That's, I guess personally, that's kind of my next steps, is making it available to do that, but I haven't put any time into kind of comparing the differences in that.
Yeah. I was wondering, it's kind of cool where you get to build something for a company that's actually in business right now, and you could see this. Do you guys have a plan to roll it out, or have you already done that?
I tried to get it approved. They said it would be approved by April 2nd, and I went and checked a couple days ago, and something happened like
2 days ago.
I don't know, it didn't even act like I had requested approval anymore, so I don't know, but yeah, our goal is to get it.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Fired
approval pending, we'll have it out there, and then anybody would be able to install it.
It's cool.
You never know when you go through these services how long they're going to take to approve something or not approve it for whatever reason. So hopefully it'll get approved, but that process is pending.
They're really trying to create the market for it, so unlike maybe now with Apple's App Store, where they're a little bit more picky about what gets through and, you know,
Yeah.
guarding it, I think there's less hurdles at this stage.
Yeah.
Still is really, you know, really early on, just a couple years old. The communities aren't there, but huge possibility moving into voice, you know, interaction, really big. Google Home is, you know, coming and taking a big chunk of market share. So I think it would be interesting to see the breakdown on your Instagram survey.
Yeah.
How many had Google Home
Yeah.
versus Alexa, and
Yeah.
you know, see what your, you know, market actually looks like.
Yeah.
And I would say you kind of prefaced it a couple times that this isn't scientific or anything. No, this is empirical evidence for your market.
Yeah.
You know who
Right.
your audience is. So that's exactly what you want to do. Not rely on, you know, just the basic stats that are out there. Tell me a little bit more about your Lambda function that goes through and checks kind of for the latest content. Is it just the tips that's randomized like that? And then tell me about the ordering of some of these other categories in your second skill.
Yeah, so right now it's the quick tips and the testimonials, the things
Okay.
that somebody would generically request.
And are they totally randomized every time so they can
Yeah,
hear,
so
or are
every
you
time-
tracking per device?
Every
know, what
time
they
you
vote?
ask, it'll return a
Okay.
different.
Yeah,
so it
just
doesn't
real
matter, like it's
simple,
not like
yeah.
this day it's gonna return this. So I mean that basically the possibilities are endless. I like the way we have it all separated out.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could modify the process any way you want. So you could determine, okay, if you wanted like specifically to start pushing a particular content, all you'd have to do is go into there and only touch that technology to change what content is being, which quick tip or which testimonial is being delivered to them. You could do that if you wanted to. Right now it's just set up to be completely random, so different every single time they ask. And right now it's not set up to go if you need a specific article. The invocable handles that entirely, but it may be something that we add where, you know, so that it is still dynamic, which, like if a new thing is updated and somehow the customer knows that content's in there, they could request it without having to update it in invocable. We haven't really decided which one would be better because I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
So there's an identifier associated with each device, and I don't have a path clear in my mind how to do this, but I do know that you can invoke, you know, the specific ID. If you could track those so that that the experience was, I don't get just the same thing over and over,
Right.
especially if the content base is relatively small.
Right.
But then I systematically get a random tip, you know, until I covered everything, and then I can go
Random
back and
without-
replay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of different features I could see that might be useful. Saving a tip so you can share it later, marking products,
Right.
kind of the sell and whatever marketing channel that you're pushing, you know, interleaving that
Yeah.
at strategic points in the interactions and things. But I echo that, really cool to be able to create something for an actual company and then, you know, mess around with kind of leading edge technology that's still evolving as we speak. I mean,
It's exactly why we chose it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something that we kind of wanted to learn about because, you know, we see these things. I have one of these in my home too. Obviously, that's one of my devices too. So we felt like it was a good opportunity to not only provide a solution that could actually be helpful, as well as learn a technology that could help us in our careers.
Yep. Awesome. Other questions?
Any costs involved with invocable, or presumably you've got some hosting costs?
Right.
They're super minimal.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that to make this?
Yeah, the invocable, I believe, I'd have to double check. Their hosting is to host kind of the logic, I guess you could say the skill is, I think like $40 a month, which for us is a lot better than like paying a developer to manage that. So
And that's not some level of use. That's just $40 a month, even if we get millions of people using it.
that is at a level of use, but that looking at what I estimated would be our use, that was kind of where we'd be at.
That would get you a long way.
Yeah, which
Then no other fees for Alexa or anything. Just
I mean, again, like the Lambda function, if you are using heavy resources, that'll start billing you. But again, that's associated with AWS, so the costs are
pennies.
typically,
Pennies.
really good pricing there from Amazon. So those would be the only costs associated, essentially.
Excellent.
All right. Any other questions, folks? All right. Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Next up, we have, is it Space Adventures? All right. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
You too. Yeah, I mean, the amount of processing you're doing with Lambda, so minimal, like so minimal.
Just saw on the news that
Thanks so much.
Google devices have started a partnership with Walmart, so you can buy groceries and everything.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, that'll give them some competition. Amazon buys Whole Foods. Well, we're gonna partner with Walmart, so take that. Yes.
When we watched our peers, there wasn't any.
You don't have to do anything. I will send out a survey after we get through them, and among other things, ask which ones you attended, and give maybe some brief feedback on that, but nothing that you need to take notes on or report formally on at this stage.
There we go.
Okay, gentlemen, do you want us to hold our questions to the end, or can we ask them as we go?
Fine with as we go.
Okay,
Fire away.
sounds good. I don't have any questions yet.
I have a question. How many of you have been to the Space Center? Raise your hand high in the air.
Just went recently.
Awesome. Lots of people. For those of you that have never been to the Space Center before, imagine this. You are in space. You have your crew, you have your ship, you have your mission. Go and explore the deepest reaches of space. You know how to do your job, and you work together as a team, negotiate with aliens, battle enemies, and finally successfully complete your mission. And this is how you feel. This happens all the time at the space centers that are scattered throughout Utah Valley. In fact, here's a map showing all of the locations of the space centers that are around here. More than you'd probably expect. These space centers have been doing this kind of simulated experience, both for educational purposes and for entertainment, for years and years. And one thing that they have done is tracked the ranks of the people that come to the Space Center. These ranks are like in the military, where as you gain experience, you increase in rank, and the higher rank you have, the more privilege you have when you come to the Space Center, especially on a day camp or an overnight camp or some special kind of summer camp. You get first pick of the simulator, of the job, what mission you do, that kind of thing. It's really great for you to be a higher rank so that you can order everybody else around. This right here is one of the rank certificates that these space centers have typically given out. As you can see, this is my rank certificate from 2004.
Are you serious?
Serious,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I kept it all of those years. So you can see that this indicates I earned 2 class hours and 2 flight hours for doing a mission at the Space Center, and those hours go towards my rank. So while it's not listed here, I earned the rank of Lieutenant Junior grade because of this flight and this rank certificate here. A couple of problems with this approach though. One, rank certificates are really easy to lose. And if you lose your rank certificate, what happens to your rank? 2, it's really easy to forget to bring your rank certificate to the space centers. You can leave it at home or not have it or whatever. And then the Space Center employees trying to figure out your rank have to ask what missions you've done and all of that stuff. It can be tedious and time consuming. It's not really helpful. And then the third and final thing is the space centers actually don't keep a record of the ranks. The ranks are stored on these slips of paper that they hand to you and expect you to bring back with you. So they have no idea what ranks people have, and they don't have any ability to reach out to people based on their ranks or to have this continuing communication with the participants that come to the Space Center. Yes, Reed?
How old were you, Alex, when
04?
Well, I was born in 1993, and since this was January of 2004, I was 11 years old.
There you go.
I was, yeah, I was a tall 11-year-old. Okay?
I was that tall like last year.
Terrence hit his growth spurt. Okay, so those are the problems that we are trying to solve with Space Adventures. We want to make it so that we can track flights and hours for these participants, help them advance in rank so they can see what their rank is, see what the next rank is, and what they need to do to get there. Stay in contact with the Space Centers through marketing materials, mailers or email mailers, what do you call those? Newsletters. And then have the participants see more opportunities to go on flights. This benefits the participants because they get to do these awesome space missions more often, and it benefits the Space Centers because they get more repeat customers. Yeah, this is our plan.
Do you want me to just go over this?
Yeah, hit it, Terry.
So that's why, this is kind of his baby, but I did participate in this. So our basic plan is we wanted to set up our architecture first, make sure all the pieces would work the way that we thought they would. We wanted to go serverless, kind of in a similar manner as the previous group. So we wanted to get all those pieces, make sure that everything could connect where it should, and then from there it was walking through features, getting bare bones, building the back end and the front end, learning as we went how they would play together and what functionality we wanted, and we slowly would add it in as the time went on. And the last stage is just polishing things up, finding bugs, just testing it out with people, changing anything that needs to be changed. And all along this, we meetings with the directors who are the people that are going to be there, the customer, to get feedback from them as well. That's how we structured our approach to solving this problem. So.
Here's our super exciting tech stack. Taryn and I kind of collaborated on what we wanted on the front end and the back end. We decided to go with React on the front end, and then halfway through the project we added on Gatsby, which is a React static site generator, which makes it so that the site is statically generated, which is good for page load times and search engine optimization. On the back end, we chose to use Google Firebase with their Firestore database, their authentication. We also are using GraphQL as the transmission layer between the front end and the back end. Provides a lot of flexibility and clarity in the way that we communicate between the two.
One thing I do want to add that I've realized as we built this, because I had no idea what GraphQL was going into this. That was my biggest lesson learned, probably, is what is GraphQL. But the nice thing about this is, let's say tomorrow we decide React isn't going to work for us. We want to move to something else. We could scrap this entire left side, and that all operates independently. All of our create, read, access, deletes, all those functions are still there. It's as simple as just hooking something else up to it. So it makes it very versatile.
Yeah, there are a lot of benefits to GraphQL, and if you want to hear about them, talk to Taryn and I afterwards, because we would love to talk to you about it. But what we really want to do right now is show you a demo of Space Adventures, and Taryn is going to take care of that. While he's getting that set up, does anybody have any questions about what we've presented so far?
So you build it, right?
Yeah.
When you approached them and said, hey, we want to do this, and we want to help the kids be able, and then you're able to know what ranks they are, all those other sorts of things, or whatever else, what was their immediate response?
So I actually had a meeting with all of the Space Center directors last semester, and I pitched them on this project and then another project idea for the capstone. And this project got overwhelming response. There was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of idea generation. They were coming up with some of the features that they wanted to include in this. And so because of that, I knew that this was something they would really get into.
Okay, so you got Stripe listed as well. So you built the function for them to have a store in association with this?
Stripe is for them to pay us for running the site for them. So it's a subscription which each Space Center is going to subscribe to monthly in order to have access to the service. Yeah, we can talk more about opportunities in that sphere when we get to the future plan section, but I'm going to pass it over to Taryn. He's going to take it away.
favorite part of my whole site is every time you click a button, this is just a splash page, right? Makes that great future tech sounding sound.
Oh yeah.
People are gonna really feel like they're operating a spaceship here. But so this is a splash page. It just gives an overview of like what when people come to the site, this is what they can do. They can track their flights and missions. They can earn ranks. We've got some pictures on here to get people excited about going to these space centers with other people and having fun there. When someone comes in, I've already created a login, so I'll just go ahead and log in. This is, imagine that I'm a participant, 11, 12, or even our age now, coming to do this. And if I can remember my password.
Okay.
This is the test.
Password 1, 2, 3.
Password 1. It's the best.
Okay, so it drops them into this page, which is their dashboard of. This is also my name that I have, like my display name. Here I can see a profile. I can go in and see more information about who I am, my email, things like that. Here I can see history of my flights, see my rank, see what I need to do in order to achieve my next rank. Officer log entries is one of the newer features that we've been working on adding, which allows them to, while they're in the actual simulation, record a little message, and then it gets saved as a history of that they can go look back at what date, I said this, or my friend made this funny joke, and it was awesome. Missions, this is a place where the space centers can kind of, it's almost like marketing, but it's just like missions that they haven't done. The system can be smart enough to know, like, they haven't done these 4 missions, so it can recommend them to them. And then
the idea is eventually, this isn't an existing feature, but eventually we'll be able to add some machine learning, see what missions these participants enjoyed doing, and okay, if you've done these missions, then these are the missions that you'd like. Don't have that yet. We don't have the data yet, so can't do a machine learning model on no data.
some tools to track their progress, and then a space center map that they can look at and just kind of, it does a lot to just increase awareness. Someone who's maybe gone once, they realize they got the site, they're like, oh, there's one right by my house. I didn't even know that, helps increase awareness. What I want to show is go directly to my profile. Here I can see information. Here I can edit my information. Here I can actually pick a random display name, which is great for people like me who aren't creative and want to just kind of click on the button. And also, if I hit a certain combination of keys, let's see, up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
Are you serious?
B,
Yeah,
A.
Contra.
I get random pirate names.
Evil Spitter, Mara the Nasty,
Which are a
Coils.
a little less PG, I guess. I mean,
It's still PG. We turned all of the swear words into heck and dang.
you get a little bit more, tough sounding names here. So that's a little Easter egg.
So how do you make people aware of the Easter egg?
You don't. That's why it's an Easter egg. You show one person and then wait for the
Yeah.
And now all of you know.
Yeah.
Everybody.
The main feature here is I right now am the rank of cadet, which if I wanted to go to a space center and show them that I'm this rank, I click here. I can actually print this out, and it formats it nicely as a rank certificate that I can print out and bring with me if I wanted to. It's got a QR code that they can use to quickly identify me. I also have this code here that if I just wanted to have a little string of numbers and digits that I can give them, that works as well. So, go back and show you the other side. So this is the front side. This is where the participants, this is what they see. The other half, and probably the much larger piece of this project, was building the side for the Space Center directors themselves. Because this is who our customer would be the Space Center director themselves. So we want to make sure they had all the features that they wanted. This is a Space Center that I created, Terran Space Center. Some basic statistics, an image. I can edit a lot of this information, add descriptions, things that I want the participants to see when they are looking through the list of space centers. I can put whatever enticing information I want there. I can also see flights that I've done through that. And what I want to mention is Alex has built the thorium software that the space centers actually run with their simulations. So he had kind of inside scoop. So it integrates directly with this Space Center's just run their flights, and when the flights finish in that software, it sends a package of data over to the website, and it shows up in their online portal. So it should be a pretty seamless integration. I can also, this is one of my favorite features, is I can do a rank check. Someone comes in, I have a laptop set up, people are coming in to do a mission.
Better get a tablet or a phone.
So I've got a picture of my QR code here. I just walk up to the, I say, I'm a captain, and I prove it, right? I just walk up, scans me, shows me, oh, you know, actually you're a cadet. you get the red shirt.
But you can also see what missions they've completed and what missions they haven't completed. So the flight director, the person running their flight, can know, okay, if I want to give them an original story that they haven't done before, this is the one I should do.
So is this uncompleted for this individual or a list of individuals?
Right, so we can continue adding people to this list for the entire crew, and then it'll show us all of the missions that they've completed together as a group.
And any that are the complement to that.
Exactly.
Nice.
So I would let everyone scan in, and then I'd see my full list for the flight here, and then I kind of make decisions. I can see who has the highest rank, lowest rank, whatever I want to see as I.
So cool.
We also built in some features so you can manually assign flights, which will be important because they all have their own systems in place right now, and we want them to be able to get everyone caught up to where they are now.
Yeah, this is how you can take the paper rank certificate and put it in for a.
So I can say, oh, Karen went on the regular flight, he was in this simulator, he did this mission, submit it, and now that's in the system.
And then just repeat for all of the flights that they've done.
And here is just so they can edit the simulators, which are the spaceships, the flight types, different hours, and class hours, missions that can be awarded, badges that can be awarded for particular reasons, and then just some simple pages where they can edit their billing information. Staff actually allows them to add other users. Let's say they want someone to be running this rank check, so the director doesn't have to be there checking people in and looking at the rank. They can add an email of someone who's going to be, one of the staff members, and they get access to that. And then settings, this is just their API token that they need to put in on the Thorium side so that it can push data into their space adventures instance. And yeah, I mean that's the basic overall demo. Are there any questions about features that are shown? Sounds good.
Yeah, for the sake of time, we don't have a demo of the Thorium side of things, but it will allow the flight director to connect all of their stuff to Space Adventures really easily. Once they put in that API token, it just pulls all of the data from this side, and then they can just choose it on their side. And then on the participant side, when they come to their station, they can log in using that confirmation code on their rank certificate. And not only will it pull in their super awesome display name as their login name on the controls, but it'll also automatically send their, connect their data, their hours that they collected during that flight to their account. If they don't have an account, at the end of the flight, they can type in their email address, and then it'll send them instructions for creating an account and getting those hours added to their account. So, trying to make it as seamless a process as possible.
So they don't have to do the flight assign every time to add their stuff. They can just go automatically from their controls. Right?
Exactly. On the controls, when they're in the spaceship, they can log in there, and then it will automatically add that flight to their.
That's cool.
Yeah. However, if there is a situation where they didn't type in their email address or any of that stuff, then the flight director can print off certificates that they can take home to type in a confirmation code, a redemption code to get the points for that flight. So lots of different ways that they can get the points. The purpose is to make it as convenient as possible for everybody involved.
All right, do we want to hook yours back up to the...
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so now we are going to find our web browser. There it is. Talk about lessons learned. One thing that was really important from the very beginning was making sure that people's information was safe and that we were keeping the law. One of those laws is called COPPA. It's the Child Online Privacy and Protection Act. It is what prevents people under the age of 13 from signing up for web services. Fortunately, the government does provide some provisions for parents to provide permission for their student to use the site. So we built that in to make sure that this is totally legal above the board, especially since a lot of the Space Center's customers are under the age of 13. One thing that we did discover when we did user tests with parents is the information that they have to provide to prove that they are the parent and that they have permission is a little much for some people. So one thing that we're going to add is making it so that they can go into the Space Centers and have the directors verify accounts from the director's end of things, just with the parent right there. Like Taryn mentioned, we met with the Space Center directors at least 3 times over the course of this whole project to get their feedback and ideas and just to gauge how they are feeling about everything. It's been really positive so far, and that's been really valuable for making sure that we hit the features that are really important to them.
I can actually speak to this next one, the Divide and Conquer. So Alex has got a whole wealth of programming experience. I swear he breathes this stuff. And I come from a little bit less of a technical. But what we had to do is we had to figure out a good balance because, especially since he's got a lot of history with the Space Centers, he's generally the one with a very strong opinion about how something should work. But since it is a team effort, we had to figure out like what are the things that I could do that I could spend the time on, and what are the things that he could do, and then work together enough that the 2 pieces could mix. And we did a few different iterations, trying different things. I think we ended up settling on I did most of the back end. He would tell me I need to be able to create, edit, delete these things, and I'll have these parameters to pass in, and then I would just build those functions on the GraphQL side. And that ended up working pretty well, but it did take us a little bit to figure out that good flow and that good system.
There are more lessons. Woohoo! Making sure that we can focus on the MVP, smallest possible thing that the Space Centers need in order to get successful. So some things that you may have noticed don't exist. We don't have a good directory of the Space Centers quite yet. We don't have any kind of marketing material or that newsletter that I mentioned. Those are things that can be added in later. But the most important thing is making sure that participants get into the system so that we can then, I don't want to say exploit them, but exploit them. Take advantage of their participation in this system and let the Space Centers get in contact with them. Making sure that we can take a step back sometimes and refocus and make sure that we're doing things right. There were a couple of times when we took a step back and realized, like Taryn mentioned, we need to rethink the way that we're communicating. Switching over to Gatsby was an interesting process and one where I thought about doing it at the very beginning and then decided, nah, we don't need it, and then realized, wait, we do need it. And so then had to take the time to put that in. There were a couple of other situations.
I had to throw away a wonderful token generator.
Yes, that was
because we showed you that code that's just digits. We were playing around with the idea of having it generate some cool sounding space phrase, like kind of like the random name generator, but a couple words longer that it would be fun and easy to remember. But it ended up just making the QR code pretty nasty to work out, and we just threw it away. Even though it would have been fun, we just decided, increase the complexity.
But then carefully picking the foundation. There are some things that once you get to a certain point, it's very hard to back up on. One of those was Firebase Firestore. It's awesome, it's fast, it's very, very capable, but we got to the point where our data was just connecting a little bit too much. Having a relational system would have made it a lot easier for some of the things that we were doing. There was actually a point where I said, Taryn and I were talking about how to do a specific feature, and we both said, we're gonna have to just duplicate data. Gross. I'm glad that Gov isn't here anymore. Yeah, so we did that, and it's fine. It works great, and I think that it's not going to cause any problems for us, but just something we should have thought of a little bit beforehand. Here are the future plans, which I'm really stoked about. I think that this will be really exciting as this project progresses. Volunteer tracking. The Space Centers have a lot of volunteers that work for them, that can get passed off in certain areas. So just like the crew members can advance in rank, if we had a volunteer portal where the volunteers could also advance in rank and show the different things that they've learned to do at different space centers. And then here's something we haven't really touched on, but this actually integrates between all of the space centers. So participants earn ranks at all of the space centers, and then volunteers, as they move from space center to space center, which happens, you can see what they've been passed off on and what they know how to do. And then educational tasks, the ranks are split in order to earn a rank, you have to earn a certain number of flight hours and class hours, and when you're in a simulator, that's more flight than class hours. So being able to earn extra class hours through visiting other organizations or doing activities online for that. Don't have that yet. It'll be really cool if we do, because then that increases the educational value of the site. And then adding a Space Center activity hub. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but notifications and mailing lists about upcoming stuff, the Space Centers all contribute to a pool of information that all just gets sent out in a monthly mailer. Having a Starfleet database that allows the participants to go on and learn stuff about the lore of these space centers. That's something I've kind of enjoyed at, for like, I don't know, when movies come out, does anybody go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole to discover everything about that movie? Maybe it's just me. I'm a nerd, sorry guys. Being able to show the list of possible missions and simulators and stations and stuff, that would be helpful. And then connecting through social media with like and tweet buttons. That's something that Gatsby allows, because we can statically generate the sites that then get shared on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So that is our project. Are there any further questions or comments?
So just a small feature idea for you amongst the gazillion you already have. On the front end, the participant side, it would be fun to show badges for their current rank, and then, show, all the badges they've received or all the ranks they've received, and then a silhouette of the ones that are coming up to paint the vision of, these are, this is kind of where I'm headed and what the potential possibilities are.
There's all these more.
Yeah, that's right. And then, that's this rank hovering over or something like that to create the hype. Similar, I didn't see you displaying badges. Are you currently displaying badges on the front side? I saw that you can add badges or award badges on kind of the back end.
That's part of the director catalog that, or the Space Center catalog that just didn't really make it as an MVP.
Got it.
But yeah, it'll be where you can see all the Space Centers, click into them, see they offer these badges, these missions.
But as far as like if I've been awarded a badge, does that currently show up?
No.
Okay.
Adding it's going to be trivial, but
yeah,
to get to the MVP, we wanted to keep it nice and lean and not worry about badges quite so much.
The ranks was like the MVP.
Did I miss-see? I thought on the back end you had kind of a badges option.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We added that to the back end, but not the front end.
Yeah. Got it.
But
Got it.
We'll get there.
All right. Perfect. Yep. It's the only question I had. What other questions do y'all have?
So, subscription-wise, that's your thing. Are you at any liberty to talk about that?
I don't care. Sure. It's interesting. The project is actually open source. So if the Space Centers wanted to host it themselves, then they totally could. If they want to be part of the actual Space Adventures community, then I think the price that we settled on was $35 a month. It's not going to produce a whole ton of money because there are only 5 customers as of right now, but it's within their budgets, hopefully, and will definitely be enough to keep the lights on and motivate me. I don't know if Terry's going to be working on the project much more.
I sold my birthright for a bowl porch. So.
Those $35 a month, he's not doing it, but yeah.
I think I just told him, just buy me lunch, I'll consider that. That's how I cash out my equity.
How much it's worth, but that'll be enough to motivate me to keep on working on these projects, these other features and stuff. Does that answer your question?
It does. Okay. It's a great labor of love.
It is a great. Reed, I could talk to you so long about the labors of love.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Great job. Okay, Mentorly's up next.
Talk about doing lunch and dinner sometime. Maybe we could take you and Kenny out.
up here?
Nope,
It might
you
make it
can-
easier to see if we.
It's actually.
Or can you see it already?
Yeah, I feel like you can see it pretty easily.
Oh, this.
Yeah, I think you can see pretty good, and you guys are a little dim in the streaming version as is, but it's probably the right balance between the two.
Okay, ready to get started?
All
then?
right,
All right.
anytime you want, gentlemen.
Okay, so we're Mentorly. We started off as Get Mentoring, but through looking at domains and stuff, the .com domain wasn't available for Get Mentoring, so we changed it to Mentorly, and so that's what we decided on. Basically, the main problem is that there are a lot of students out there that are looking for mentorship with people in certain jobs, and they're trying to. These jobs might be, rather difficult jobs to get into. And there's several professionals in these jobs already that are wanting to help, right? And so we wanted to make a platform that was dedicated to mentoring to help these students make those connections with the professionals. So our solution was to make a website that allowed these connections to be made, but then also allowed companies to manage and monitor those connections so that they can know who in their company is mentoring these people and create that pipeline of potential hires. So that's the main value we're getting from this. And so to talk about our main tech stack, technology that we used for this, the web framework we used was Django. We leveraged the Django REST framework with that for an API. And so with React on the front end, we were able to hit the API and get the data we need. We didn't use React on every single page, but on most of the pages, we use React and leverage that. We also put it on Amazon, so our server's running on EC2, and we're running it with the database with RDS, which allows us to scale it if we want. We also are using Amazon S3 for storing photos, the cover photo and their profile photos, and then also using SES to send emails for like the forgot password email feature. So that's our main list here. So what we'll do now is we'll go over the demo. We're going to show the mentee side of things, what they get to see and use. We'll talk about mentors and then how the companies use the website.
And so we have it hosted at mentorly.com if some of you guys wanted to pull it up and maybe sign up as mentees for our demonstration up here. Just a couple.
It's already
not
on the
everybody.
internet, so.
Yeah, it's already up on the line. So Mentorly with an I, Mentorly with a Y was already taken, and the guy wanted like $10,000 for it, so
Yeah, not worth it.
Maybe if we grow, right, we could buy
get
it.
mentoring.
No, not worth it. Build a brand around this instead.
We could we'll just say Mentorly with an I, so people know. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and go through the sign up process. Well, first off, real quick, this is our homepage. We went through some iterations with colors and icons. We had pink and yellow to start off with, and they didn't look good together. Then we had an icon that was blue and green, so we changed to blue and green. But we didn't like the icon, so we changed that. And so it's been a whole process with design and that kind of stuff.
We've been working with our partner that's on this with us, and he's helping a lot with those sort of design features.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do first, there's this essentially like some search functionality on the homepage, so you can search for mentors before you have to sign up or log in. And we've just put some dummy data in here, just online. So if we filter by mentors in California, let's say, we get a list here of all the mentors that are in the system from California, and then just the rest of the mentors after that follows. And so we can see here the list of all the mentors. Me, Corey around here, Luke, we can help you guys if you need anything, learning how to build websites, whatever. We're mentors, but when we click on a mentor link, we're going to use Tom, for example, as a mentor. Tom Johnson. He's not a real guy, but we're going to try to request mentorship from him. And this is the point that we'd have the users log in. So they could browse the mentors on the site, but wouldn't be able to really get any valuable information until they log in. So just kind of give them a taste of everything. So here we're going to actually sign up as a mentee.
Mentees also have the option to sign up through LinkedIn. If they just use their LinkedIn account, it will create an account for them as well. So we wanted to make it simple for anyone if they wanted to get on, not have to spend the time to make an account. If they want to, they can. They have that option, but they also have the option to use LinkedIn as well. So we'll go through this process here, create a nice strong password.
Same one we well, shouldn't tell you that.
Go ahead and sign up, and and then now they have the option to fill in kind of, the mentees will have a small little profile bio, basically, that mentors will be able to see. So they fill in kind of their summary, their industry that they're looking for, what type of job function they're looking for, and obviously we'll add more options here in the future. And yeah, let them know what point they are in their schooling or career. That way we can just have some information to direct them to specific mentors in the future. So now, we need to pick a photo.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, let's go ahead and choose one of these. We'll go ahead and we'll do this photo. Me and my wife here.
Special guest in the back.
Oh yeah.
So let's use my face here. So go ahead and you can just crop it, right? Well, we can.
That's right.
Okay, so
I like it. Couple mentoring.
Yeah, there
Love
you
it.
go. So when we save changes here and then go ahead and submit, it uploads the photo to S3 and saves it there. So we're not saving it on our server. So now it took it back to the page.
So now now that I'm logged in, it takes me back to where I was, and I have my profile now. Up here, I'm logged in as Bob. And I can request this mentorship.
And then what he'll do is he'll just send a message. It can be however long he wants it to be, just that this is what the mentor will see when he gets the request. Okay?
Okay, so now I've sent that request to Tom. I've created my account, I've sent the request to Tom. And so now we're gonna kind of go through the mentors side of things. We think this, right here, at least up until now, this will create a lot of value for students, being able to go and find mentors that they can connect with. And we'll get more into like the messaging and other features a little bit later, but this is essentially the browsing functionality that we have for students.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll log in as Tom so we can see how that request works. So
If you guys made an account, go ahead and request Tom's mentorship too, so you can see it.
if you did do that.
I'm having a hard time searching for the mentors. Can you maybe come show me what I'm doing wrong here?
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of data in there, so that's probably
So,
why.
California, did you say?
Yeah, if you search California, you'll find a bunch.
If you go to www.mentory.com,
Okay, so
I think
we can see here that Josh just showed up, right?
Oh, got it.
Account. And,
Yeah, got it.
Well, so we have two here. We have Josh Billings and Bob Jones. So this is the one that Tanner just made. So if it was a longer message like Josh, I could click on it and see what the whole message says. He wrote a very small message, so that's all it is. But yeah, so if I wanted to accept Bob to be my mentee, I just go ahead and click accept, and it will then go ahead and put Bob down there in the mentee section. So that way they're connected. This is the mentor's dashboard when they first log in. This is what they see. So we give them a little bit more information. There's this engagement score that Tanner created that was basically just how well are they connecting and communicating and how active are they on the platform. So like how many referrals they've made, the connections, and things like that. And it gives them a percentage of engagement.
I wonder if you should obscure that a little bit to get traction and have maybe tiers. That way you can change your thresholds arbitrarily for what it means to qualify for a tier so that people feel like they're there. If I come in and I'm popular, lots of people are going to be requesting and my percentage is low, then I feel like, oh, you know, what a bummer. But if you could set thresholds, if this is straight, you know, percentage, or, you know, have other factors that help to boost different tiers, like the number of requests you're getting over a certain period of time or whatever.
Go ahead.
Right now it's just essentially an accumulation of like your profile completeness and then your requests, views, number of mentors, and just essentially percentages. But yeah, that's good feedback now.
So then down here it also shows you like how many profile views you've had, and then number of requests you've made. So in talking about the referrals, the referral process is a big thing for our partner. He works at LinkedIn and he's referred several people to LinkedIn, actually from BYU specifically. And he says it's a very difficult process and kind of rough. So he wanted a way to make it very easy for companies to be able to see who referred who. So we've made it very easy where all the mentor has to do is get a job title and a job link. So let's say, for example, we use this job posting on Stack Overflow. The company will post it there, and all the mentor will have to do is grab the name and then grab the link for the job posting. And then once they create the referral link, they can then send this link off to the mentee. And then I'll show you what that does for the mentee side. So if we go ahead and log out, let's say I am a mentee and I click the link, it'll take me to the login page. If I'm already logged into the website, it'll route me straight through the job posting. But I'll go ahead and log in as Matt. He's one of the mentees in the system. And now that he logged in, it took him straight to the posting. So what this does is it's made that record that Matt clicked a link that was from Tom. And so when the company gets an application from Matt, they can say, hey, oh, so we know that Tom knows this guy. Let's go talk to Tom and see what he thinks about Matt and kind of move the process forward a lot faster. So he's really excited about it. So we thought that was a really great feature.
This is really interesting. I haven't thought of that in our previous conversations. I've always thought of it as who referred the person first. You know, so you kind of get the precedence, because a lot of times there's rewards for bonuses tied to who referred them, and so this is kind of helping to organize that. But to get the multiplicity of people that are connected to that same person could be interesting or useful as well.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, there you are, Tom.
Yeah. I don't know where my picture is, but I did upload one. So.
Oh, well, I don't know what happened then.
We'll have to look into that.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead and accept you.
Yeah.
So now you can see that he's got a referral there, and you know it's logged in. So we'll see on the company side. The Tanner will show what they see as far as how the referrals go. So two things. I wanted to show how the profile, the cover photo upload works. So it works very similar to the profile picture, but obviously it's a bigger photo. So if I wanted to do that, what it does here specifically is it will compress the image on our side, so it makes it a lot smaller, and then it saves it to S3 and spits back the URL to us, and that's what we put on the website. And sometimes for larger photos it takes a little bit longer, but we put that skinny thing there to help with that.
This is something that our partner wanted. He wanted a really long photo on the top. And I don't know if that for sure is the best. That may end up changing in the future, where we don't store such huge photos like that.
But yeah, so it spits that back out. So that's how they can upload their own cover photo. They can also edit the content on here. Like for example, they can bold certain content, or make a bulleted list, or all kinds of things, and add as much as they want in this section. And so they can make their profile unique to them and be able to put the information they want on there. So yeah, that's how that works. Last thing I wanted to show was the messaging platform. One thing that was important to us was to make it so the mentors and mentees, when they're communicating, that the mentors' phone numbers weren't straight on the web, public. So we wanted to make it a little bit more private at first. If they want to share their information later, they can. So we integrated a messaging platform called Talk.js. And so if the mentor just clicks on here to message the mentor, it'll show up. Oh look, it's like Dr. Survey already got on there. So like, you can reply back, yes I do. And it does the double check marks when it shows that he's replied, or when he's seen it. So it's live there, and it works pretty well. And it was a very easy thing to leverage and use. When I talked about that referral link process, the one nice thing also with that is I made it so that we can message any mentees that have signed up, and it will automatically send the referral link straight through the messaging service. So, for time's sake, we won't show that, but it'll just send the link straight through the messaging service.
Just a quick note with the messaging, it would have taken us a long time to figure out, but implement messaging, instant messaging. And so we're using an outside service like Corey talked about, and there's a fee for that every month. We're just in test mode right now, but once we start, if we start making money off of this, then we'll switch over to live mode. And so we'll be paying a little bit for that, just if anybody was curious about messaging, how that works.
So there's no need to re-implement everything just because we can.
For sure.
Paying for third-party services is fantastic.
Yeah, that was.
If you can afford it.
Yeah, when we like started to tackle the messaging part, it was like, this is gonna be a lot. So
we actually got some advice from our mentor to look for a third-party service to implement.
Yeah.
So that was helpful from Diane.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so
yeah, so I'll sign in.
So we're gonna show the company stuff real quick, so you can see how they will see the referrals and they also get some analytics capabilities too, some charts and graphs and stuff.
So this is, I logged in as Jenny Allred, and she's the representative from Apple. She works at Apple, and she's responsible for all this data that we have for her. First it brings you to a list of mentors, and this shows the active mentors. So this shows all their information. Jenny can message them, she can see their profile, she can see their LinkedIn. See how many referrals? This is the referral we sent earlier, and she can click here to see the referrals.
Yeah, if you want to
also,
click that, Ken.
yeah.
And so it just brings up the job posting and just put it in there. So
good job. Yeah. So and then she can search at the top. It's essentially a filter. If there's tons of mentors that they have seats for at their company, then they can filter it down. Then we go to the mentees here, and these are the mentees that are connected with the mentors. Again, there's a search feature, and she can message them. You got his photo in there. Looks good. Yeah, so this is the list of mentees, and it shows who they're connected to here on the side. Something that I think is very cool, and I think could be very useful for these companies is this analytics tab. It shows, essentially, this is a chart that's responsive, and it'll change based on whatever metrics they want to see. So they can see their profile views for all their mentors, see who's getting the most views, requests, who has the most mentees and referrals. And then this engagement score as well here. And then a request from our partner. He thought maybe a company would want to see based on department who's doing best. So we have down at the bottom the engagement score. You can see 2 mentors in marketing, 1 in engineering, 1 in operations, and you can see their data there based on their department. And then at the bottom, just an overarching, this is just all the data that they can visualize here. Maybe it'd be a report in the future. But just their views, requests, mentees all in one place for them to analyze there.
So presumably the software is most useful to companies that have a lot of mentors and mentees. How does that impact your charts up here? Let's say you have 10,000 employees.
Great question.
How do you display that? I mean, I do think it's something worthwhile to kind of think about and how it's represented, because the market you're going after is probably more than less.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe in the future it's not implemented right now, and I think it wouldn't look too good with 100 mentors on there.
Yeah.
There's skinny lines, and you can hover and you can see the data, but it'd be tough to see all at once. So maybe like a filtering bar up there too, or maybe just show the top performers at the lowest, or
kind of cap it at a certain number. Maybe be able to filter by department, by team within the departments, or some sort of structure.
Yeah,
anyway, kind of maybe V2 or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not set up to handle that yet. And then another thing the companies have, the way we were thinking we'd monetize this is we'd charge for a certain amount of seats at each company. They can host mentors, and they can get the data back from their mentors. And so they'd have active and inactives. At the top, you can see 0 of 2 seats available. So this company has 2 at the moment. Maybe they'd want to upgrade to 10 or 100, then they'd have more available. But here this is where essentially you can reactivate and deactivate your mentors. So for example, we can deactivate Luke, who's a mentor at Apple, and reactivate Bill.
What does that do if they're inactive? Can I no longer talk to them?
You can no longer, well, you can't log in. So
as a mentor,
yeah,
I see.
Your account.
So I'm like, hey Tom, what's going on?
It would just be
nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll need to do something.
Well, we'll think about it. It's just, yeah, like if they're not paying for it,
Yeah.
like they probably shouldn't be able to use their account. So
Yep.
And, and if they try to reactivate, if they try to overspend their limit, then
Yeah.
they'll get a warning. Maybe there'd be a link to a page with more plans or something.
So they can pay and buy more. But that wasn't part of it.
Then also
That's a good
like
idea.
filter here where.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, so that's the organization. We think it'll provide a lot of value to the organizations, as well as students looking for jobs. I know me as a student, I look for every single opportunity I could find to make connections and get my name out there and try to get a job. And this would just be one more outlet. For mentors, I think it would give them a lot of satisfaction, helping students maybe from their schools or from their communities. And then these organizations, this platform will create a pipeline of potential hires that already know people at their company. It'll maybe give them some PR credit if they have a certain amount of mentees helped in their community, things like that. So we think it'll provide a lot of value to these three categories. Lessons learned. We kind of talked about this earlier, leveraging existing libraries instead of trying to build everything out, because it takes a long time, it takes a lot of money, and it's already created for us. So if we can pay a low amount or we can get it for free, why not just utilize what we have and integrate with it? Throughout this whole process, we were working closely with this partner. Just really quick, he works in the HR recruiting department as a salesman at LinkedIn. And so he has a lot of ideas about what he thinks the customers want. And there was a lot of changing requirements. It started out as something and it turned into something else, and it's transforming every day still. So
that's right.
So I think maybe in the future, maybe establish upfront exactly what we're going to do and make sure there's no stretching of the boundaries, and unless it's required by the customer, unless the customer really wants it, then be ready to change things up at any moment. Develop the product in iterations. I think that was huge for us, knowing exactly what we were going to work on every week, every day. It really helped us to build this out in steps and helped us stay organized together as a team. I think that was huge for us. So essentially what we learned with that is always do it. Set SMART goals. So we talked about these in the program. Just make sure our goals are succinct and we can get them done on time, and we follow up on those goals. And then me and Corey both came into this with different expertise, we think. Corey definitely, he's built some websites with Django, and he's been doing a lot of development.
That's my expertise. His was the React part.
Front end, and I think we learned a lot from each other during the whole process. But know your expertise and then be willing to learn is definitely something we learned through this whole process. But yeah, that's what we've got at this point.
Any other questions
from you guys?
Questions?
So if the department asks, then you could build all the alumni in as potential mentors for all the current students.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Our plan, we're thinking of signing on a bunch of mentors before we start making money with companies, just to get a list of mentors to use. You know? And that would be awesome if we could use BYU alumni or department alumni. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, we've already built in a way for mentors to be able to sign on without having a company. So, but the plan would be to eventually move it so they have to have some organization that they're under.
So what's your monetization strategy then?
Well, so it's going to be very restricted first with the mentor signing up individually. It would have to be done like, we're going to give you a link and you sign up kind of thing. But then then companies, once we get mentors on there and people are using it, we can then reach out to companies and get them to sign up, which they will then sign their mentors up themselves.
So I think that's the right strategy. Freemium model for individual mentors, and I don't think you need to restrict it. I would, say encourage onboarding of individual mentors, and the whole company pieces out. But then if a company wants to kind of pay for the service, then they can pull in those mentors, get the analytics on what's going on. You start. This is really challenging. It's a two-sided market here, where you need enough mentors, but you need mentees also for them to be willing. You might be able to bootstrap it a little bit if you went through the department and said, let's get all IS alums on, and then try to use students to connect, with those alums as mentors next year, let's say, or something like that. I think you'll learn a lot if you went down that road. And then, it's the monetization is through these extra features of the company, the tracking of the links and other things that would be of interest. But the basic, connection, the chatting back and forth, I'd say keep that in the freemium area.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'd be happy to chat more if you want to chat more
that'd be
about,
awesome.
potential strategy.
Yeah, it'd be really great to get a bunch of people on at once, so.
Reed, what else you got for us? We were hoping you'd have more feedback about it.
Well, as you get into the referral piece is where I'm going with it. If I'm a mentor and I want to refer a different company rather than the one I'm working at, how do I get, through that?
That's a great question.
So I think you should be able to, as a mentor, give a key that then anyone, you can hand that key to anyone and they can see your kind of your stats, your links or other things.
Yeah. So you're saying maybe like a headhunter's fee kind of, like you give a referral to a different company and you get a little something back for it.
If that company is playing that game, yes. But I'm just looking at it as a mentor. Oftentimes I'm not looking to see what reward I'm going to receive.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And help you further your career. And so I'm not too worried
about if you go to
if I tell you go work for LinkedIn and I'm working for Google.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a good thought.
I didn't think about that.
It's an option. I don't know if you can turn it on, turn it off, where you're saying referral associated with the company I work for.
I think
then
it's not
you blank
set like
out
that,
everything,
right?
every other referral that you might give.
The way it's set up with the companies in the database, if that company was in our system, it wouldn't be that hard to say this referral is for that company, and they could see the referral on their end.
Yeah, we would just have to fill that out.
And maybe you just have that. You have another section for the referrals of non-company employee or non-employee referrals or something. And it's anyone that's in the system that's kicked them over to your site.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other
probably
piece,
have that data.
This ties into a different scenario, but so you said the LinkedIn, the person could just do it and autofills, does everything it needs to do. So as a mentor, I'm clicking a button that says, yes, use my LinkedIn as the profile for choice, those sorts of things. It makes it easier if I'm a mentee, a potential mentee, to know that the mentor has just moved to a different company, like Luke, okay?
Yeah.
Moving to Zoom and doing different things and whatever else, so that it's not, I may be the mentee thinking I'm trying to find somebody that could refer me into. See, this is the difference. If I'm a job seeker and I'm looking as a mentee to be brought into a particular company, and that's the reason why I'm seeking the mentorship, so that I can be on that track to join that culture, be in that environment, do those things, versus I'm a mentee who's just trying to develop a professional portfolio and get the real schooling that I would like to have.
We probably went along the first route there, where it's kind of like you ask for mentorship of people that already work in companies that you want to go to. I think that was kind of the route we originally built out, but.
Yeah.
And that ties you back into that referral that he makes for the company versus the referral that he might make outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about it from these ways. I always assumed I'd be going to one company and there's a guy there that I want mentorship from, and I'm talking to him and for that company.
Well, if you pull in all the alumni, you're going to get a scenario where you've got 40 or 50 that are working for one particular company. Then it becomes, which is there a star tag? I mean, how you were giving percentages that could be reviewed by the mentor. He could see what his engagement percentage was, but the company could also see what it was. I don't know if there's a way to give some sort of a indicator that this is the first go-to person in a particular company if you're trying to search for a job versus if you're just going for professional development.
Yeah, different badges awarded by companies for different roles of how individuals should engage for different purposes, even, you know,
that's a good thought.
hey, this is the HR, you know, contact for this role, and here's, you know, kind of the BYU, you know, contact for, you know, the IS department in this role. And I mean, there'd be ways to add a variety of badges to help people find and, yeah, depending on the purpose and the value they're trying to leverage from the system. So is this a real thing, or is it kind of like, whoop, done, out of here?
And I'm hoping to continue it. I think Corey, it was more of like a good project. It was something that we could learn a lot doing. If he wanted to stay on, that's
we'll
that's
see
an
what I
option
do,
too,
but I think I'm kind of leaning on the Tanner's gonna work more with our guy and see if they can carry it on. But.
Yeah, so we got a grant from the Marriott School for customer validation purposes.
Okay, through Dr. Little?
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Well, through the Rollins Center.
Yeah, the I-Corps.
Is that Dr. Little?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're hoping to start doing some customer validation with some HR leaders and, in the next few weeks because we graduate soon. But yeah, hoping to go along with it after this. I'd love to talk about some mentors we can get on.
Let me try to give you a little encouragement. I see the value add in this, and I think there's a gap as we've looked at mentoring at all sorts of different levels in the program, between students, with alums, and then having been in industry and seeing kind of referral bonuses and stuff. I don't know of anything else that fits that niche, and I think that there's an opportunity. I don't know, you know, you've got a lot of great features now. I don't know if those will be the final features. Usually it's like 10 versions down that it's like, okay, now we really understand.
And we actually started with different features. So
yeah, so it's an evolutionary thing, tell you, you know, and if you do that validation, make sure you hit all the constituents, right?
Yeah.
Make sure you hit the mentees and what they're going for and really understanding them, and make sure you understand the mentor's value in it. And the HR department, totally different, you know, values that, you know, you might craft the system and the feature set a little bit differently depending on who you're emphasizing and which features. But I think there's real potential here. I think this fills a need, and you could have something. It's going to take a bunch of effort still, but I'm impressed. I don't think you're that far from an MVP.
Yeah.
I think you're pretty close.
And I actually have a question for you guys. We've talked about this a little bit. We didn't show in depth the LinkedIn sign-on, but it works pretty easy with, if you just sign in with your LinkedIn credentials, it creates your profile, and it works pretty smoothly with LinkedIn.
The one major problem with that, though, is that in order to get access to the full LinkedIn profile, we have to apply to be like a partner with LinkedIn.
Sure.
So there's a little bit more effort that have to go into that.
I mean, even if I framed it, you know, just with the LinkedIn profile, that's probably enough to get the information. Why are you going after that LinkedIn information? And, you know, in my mind, you still want those 4 or 5 fields that you're collecting so that you can do the filtering on your site to narrow down the search capability. So why grab additional info from LinkedIn? You don't want to compete with LinkedIn. No use doing that. And so is it just informational? Well, a link kicking you over there in a new tab probably does the same thing. Maybe not quite as elegantly, but a lot quicker. So, you know, I'd say nail your value proposition for wanting to do that before you go through all the effort to build the structure on both sides, and in the end, it just looks like another LinkedIn competitor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was wondering if, like, we've tried to integrate smoothly with LinkedIn, and we see it as a lot of value added to your LinkedIn experience. It's a separate portal where you can build specific mentoring relationships. But I was wondering if you guys saw it as a competitor to LinkedIn, because we definitely don't want to be a competitor to
No, I think you're in a totally different space.
Yeah, the whole goal is to not do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's overlap for sure.
We were hoping they'd post something in there with the mentor profile. You can create your own link, so you could put like mentorly.com/your profile, whatever you wanted it to be. We were hoping people would post it on their LinkedIn, and maybe it'd create interest that way. And we just want to work together with LinkedIn as much as we can.
Yeah, there may be ways in LinkedIn. I don't know the platform and where it's at now compared to 10 years ago or whenever. But you know, if they have third-party integration where you can click on a button and launch out to another site, that would be ideal. It's like, here's my Mentorly link, and so anyone that jumps on LinkedIn, clicks on that, gets kicked out and can make the associations or things. I would be surprised if LinkedIn isn't doing something in this space. But you know, as far as kind of mentoring initiatives, but I don't see a great fit right now. I mean, I don't see the feature set that I'm aware of. Yeah. You know more than I do, though. All right, great job. Thanks. Okay, that's all for today. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
Rock drop, right?
Yep, the rock line. Rock line card. All right, we're a little scattered tomorrow. 9, 11, and 1.
Here at the 9.
Awesome.